get going on our regularly scheduled program, there are two things that I want to talk about. The first of which is your research lessons. So, I finished up everybody's research lesson 3, which is the longest thing for you guys to do and the longest thing for me to grade, because there's so much to it. Remember, research lesson 3 was you choosing your topic and choosing your peer-reviewed article and a graph on that article. So it took me a little bit longer to get through that than it usually does, so I appreciate your patience. But I really wanted to make sure when I was looking at those for you guys that I really had a good feeling for what you were choosing for your topic, that your article was good, and I felt like you had a good understanding of your article, and that your graph you chose was good, and you had a really good understanding of the graph that you chose. And I also glanced at your APA citation. Not that you were going to sink or swim on that. So what you want to do is go into your grade book first and foremost, and you should see a pass or a fail on that. Keep in mind, even if you passed, you should go in and look at your assignments, right? Because for many of you, I still may have made commentary that will be helpful to you. So remember, from your grade book, you can click on the assignment and look. Okay, and so remember, there's two places you can look for feedback. Right under the checklist part, sometimes I make commentary there. Otherwise, if you scroll all the way down, or depending on the formatting of your computer, wherever you dump your assignment, there'll be another option that says annotated PDF. If you click on that, oftentimes for me as an instructor, that's where I tend to put things, because I can drop thought bubbles right in your assignment next to where they would go. So if you needed help with your citation, I can click on your citation, create a thought bubble. If you needed help with your figure, I can click right on the figure box and create a thought bubble. This is really good practice for any of your instructors. I can't speak for your instructors how they give you feedback. So always look in both of these places for feedback that your instructors are giving you. So pass or no pass, make sure that you go back in, right? Because I may have said, this is fine, but make sure that you're interpreting your figure correctly. Or this is fine, but this is not how you do an APA citation. So for whatever that needs to happen, do make sure that you're going forward utilizing this information, because it will be extraordinarily helpful to you. If you did not pass, that's okay, right? This is what the badges are for. But this is one of those things that you will need to make sure that you take pause, use the information you've been given at this point, whether it's I didn't see what graph you were using, or I don't think the graph and your topic are a good fit, to go back and really figure out where you want to go from here, okay? If you did not pass, my best recommendation is to pause, okay? Figure out what you want to happen, collect your resources, and make a tutor appointment, okay? This is the most expensive homework assignment. It's our biggest homework assignment, right? Because you had to do so much to turn it in. So it's 3 badges to redo. You have 6. Okay, so it's still only half, but it's still a lot. So make a tutoring appointment. Okay, take all of the resources that you have, okay, and take them to your tutoring appointment. That way, so after the tutor appointment, then request to turn it in. Okay, but that way, when you turn it in, you can turn it in with full confidence, okay, that you'll pass this time. So the reason I bring this up is, one, you should make a good habit of checking your grade book. But if we go in, And our eLearn's having a nervous breakdown, so just kind of ignore what it's doing right now. It seems to think it's week 7. It's fine. We all kind of wish it was week 7. But if we go into week 7, we see that next week we have our research lesson 4. All right, so I'm giving you a heads up a week in advance that our next research lesson is coming up. Okay, now this research lesson is going to feel really chill compared to the last one, right? Nothing, quite frankly, besides maybe the paper is going to feel quite as rugged as what you just did. So research lesson 4 is picking our next and final source, right? So you already picked your topic. You already picked the journal article. So all you have to do for this one is pick another source, and it's a website. That's pretty chill. All right? So what you'll have to do first is go to this orange box. Okay, this orange box is super short, okay, and it's going to walk you through how do I pick a good website. Okay, so how do I spot a good website? Reputable, what makes a good website from a sketchball website, and that can be hard to tell. Okay, it's also going to walk you through how do I make sure I don't accidentally pick another journal article. Right? Because just because a journal article gives you full access online doesn't make it a website, right? It's still a peer-reviewed journal article, and you already have one of those. So it's going to walk you through how to pick. It's also going to give you an example of each. What does a good website look like? What does a bad website look like? And what does an online journal article look like? So you have an idea of what each look like to compare to as you are looking. Okay. And then there's another one of those Word documents to fill out, but it's crazy short compared to the last one you did. Okay, now the issue is this is going to remain locked if you haven't passed Research Lesson 3. Okay. And that makes sense because you can't find a source for a topic you haven't gotten picked yet, right? So if you've already passed Research Lesson 3, you've got a little pass, green pass in your grade book, everything's fine and dandy, you can move on with your life. If you haven't, okay, then you need to go back and work on Research Lesson 3, and that needs to be what your focus is this week. Okay. Now, make sure that you're working on that. Okay. Now, once you pass Research Lesson 3, I'll take care of the deadlines. If you need to get the deadline for 4 fixed, once you finish Research Lesson 3, I'll auto fix that for you. You won't have to immediately use badges again for 4 because that's not fair. Okay? So I'll take care of you. Okay? But don't sit on Research Lesson 3 for 2 or 3 weeks, right? If you sit on this for too long, you're just going to end up leaving yourself less time to work on the paper, which none of you have to worry about right this second, but you will eventually, right? We're eventually going to come to that point, so you do not want to be leaving yourself less time by hanging on to this, okay? So where you are right now, no matter what happened with Research Lesson 3, you're fine, okay? But you need to make sure that you're dealing with it now and not later, okay? Does that make sense? Everybody know what they need to do no matter what's happened? Shiny bits. Okay. The other thing, I had a busy week. Okay? The other thing that I dealt with this week were your exams, which went very good. Okay? Now, you have like a bajillion exam grades, heaven help. I know that the gradebook can be very confusing because eLearn is just like not super great with adding. So, don't get overwhelmed with the number of scores. Okay? Your individual 1 score looks terrifying. Remember that score's out of 85. So if you have like a 69 or a 65 or a 50, it's out of 85. That's not out of 100. Do not let that score intimidate you. Okay? Your final score on here, the one that is out of 100, if you have not traversed this yet, says X bar exam 1. Means X sum. Right? So that's the spot in your grade book that's actually bothering to add all of your bits together. Okay? So that'll add individual exam 1. That'll add your extra credit from individual exam 1. And that'll add your group score. Okay? It'll also be the biggest number in that sector. Okay? Short of like your super average at the end. But you're going to ignore that for right now. Okay? That number is out of 100. Okay, so whatever that number is, okay, 60, 70, 80, whatever, okay, that's your exam 1 score. Okay, so you should be able to go in your gradebook and find that number. And the horror that is, eLearn gave you too many exam numbers. Okay, I used to be able to only provide you the 1 exam score. I'm not able to do that anymore. Okay, so let's talk about your exams. Okay, overall, you guys did a really great job. But if your exam didn't go as shiny as you wanted it to, then that's okay too. Okay? Because sometimes, right, first exams are kind of tough. Right? You never know what to expect. Professor's a little crazy, right? You never know how she's going to write questions. That's always the case. Okay? So that's okay. In this particular class, you get a second chance. All right? So here's what that second chance looks like. Okay? In this class, we call the program SWATT. Students with academic tutoring, and never can remember that second T. Never can. It exists. It means something. Nevertheless, okay, here is what you're going to do. If that X bar number is less than a 70 for you, okay, and so remember a 70 in this class is passive. Okay, that means that you're eligible for the SWAT program. Okay, so if then you want to do something about it, highly recommend, okay, the first thing and you need to do is email. Okay. Really what you need to do is use that appointment or appointlet link. Because if you email me, I'm just going to send you the link back. Either way is fine. So if you've emailed me before, there's that pretty little blue link on the bottom of my emails. If you've not emailed me before, man, we're week 6. How have you not emailed me yet, man? At the top of our syllabus, there is an appointment link. Okay? When you click on this link, it is all Dr. Annette all the time. Okay? You get like this really creepy Big Brother like look into my entire life. Right? It's literally every moment of my life that's open. What you're going to do is there's going to be an option for SWAT, 30 minutes. Okay, make that appointment type. I have many appointment types. I have many different types of students. Okay, and then pick a time next week that works for you. I never say no. Okay, so if it's open, it's yours. First come, first serve. Okay, you'll find that pretty much any day besides Monday works. My Mondays are really terrible. You're going to really struggle to find a 30-minute time slot on Monday. Okay, that's it. Okay, once you do that, you'll get a mini email back that has the MS Teams link in it. Okay, if you're having trouble with this, just send me a regular email and I will send you the link back on how to do it. Okay, but you need to do this by Friday close of day. Okay, so I know who else is going to do it. Okay, what we're going to do in our meeting is basically powwow. Okay, so we'll go back and talk about your test. Okay, how did you study? What did you do? How did you feel when you were taking the test? right? What kinds of things went well, what kinds of things did not go well, and then sit down and figure out what can we do better next time. Okay, so that's what I mean by plan of action. Okay, and that'll take 30 minutes. Okay, and you know me, I use every time second you give me. Feel good so far? All right. The next thing that's going to happen is you're actually going to do something with the information that I give you. So the TAs are going to run a post-exam 1 review. Okay, this will be open to everybody, right? Remember, the finals cumulative, so it's useful to everybody. But the SWAT students have to go to it. During this time, they'll go over the questions or the hot questions on the exam, at least. I won't have time to go over all of them. Okay, but the hot questions on the exam. Okay, and very specifically, okay, what do we do with questions on an exam? Okay, so if you'd gotten this question, how would you deal with it? Okay, how do I read this exam question? Okay, what are the important features that I would use to break it down? How would I pick through the answers? Where in your notes was this information? And how do I get from the information in your notes to the information in the question? Okay. The other thing you'll need to do is make a meeting with any biology tutor. Okay. And this will be directly then using the information from your SWAT meeting in an applied fashion. So this will be much more catered to whatever we talked about in our meeting. This might be content-based. You might take a mini practice test. Maybe you'll go over your new note-taking method. It really depends on what we talked about. Okay, so this will be super catered to you as an individual. And you'll have several weeks to go over this, and this is why we really want to meet next week. So you have lots of time to do all of this stuff. With me so far? Any questions? All right, here's the skinny, and this is why this is so great. If you did all of this stuff, then when you come to take exam 2, okay, and your exam 2 score is most assuredly better, because it almost always is, okay, then I'm going to split the difference between your exam 2 score and your exam 1 score. And I'm going to add the difference back to your exam 1 score all the way up to a 70 and make your exam 1 score disappear. Okay, so we can bring you up to passing. And now the key features, this is like icing on the cake. The key feature here is if right now exam 1 makes you feel like you're sitting in an abyss that you're never going to be able to climb out of, okay, we can pull you back out of that abyss. All right, so then you're sitting back on that C, and you can reach for that C, you can reach for that B, you can even technically be in that A range, because, right, remember, to get an A, your exams have to average 86, and then all other things being fabulous. Just have to do very, very good the rest of the semester. Okay. So we're going to fish you back out. Okay, but this is just icing, in my opinion. Okay, this is my carrot, because what I really want for you to be getting out of this is everything else, right? Because you've done better on exam 2, that's the key, which means we have good test-taking skills, good note-taking skills, good study skills. So in the meantime, right, we've gotten really good at everything else, meaning that you've gotten set up for success on your exams for the rest of the semester. Okay, so when I say second chance, I really mean here's a real second chance. Okay, so all you got to do to start the process is send me that email, make an appointment with me. Okay. Any questions about the SWAT program?
So it's only for the first exam?
It's only the one-time offer only, the first exam. Anything else? Yeah.
So you can't do it if you got over 7.
Correct, right? This is just to bring you, so you can still meet with me and we can still chat about, right, ways to improve, but the rest of this, right, you can still go to the TA thing and all of that, but you can't do any of the grade improvement because that caps you at 70. But no matter what, you can always come in and talk with me, talk about what I can do to study better or any of that stuff. Like that's open to anybody at any time, always. And the tutors and TAs are always also happy to have that conversation. So never feel restricted on those things. Anything else? No, we're not ready to study. Okay.
Let me restart the recording.
Yes, please. That was exactly what I was going to say.